10 times people messed with King Charles. Out of context reporter. In the 1960s, Charles attended Gordonstoun boarding school in Moray, Scotland. And his second year of school, young Prince Charles and a few fellow students had a dinner at the Crown Hotel. According to the Scottish Daily Express, Charles was dared to go up to the bar and order a drink. Unlucky for him, a tabloid reporter at the pub spotted the prince ordering a cherry brandy, reportedly the first drink that came to his head, and published a story of the prince drinking under the legal age of 18. Charles' bodyguard was reportedly fired after the incident. I say kudos to the security for letting the kid have some fun. The egg. The king, 74, kept cool during a walkabout in Luton, England on a Tuesday when an egg was allegedly thrown in his direction. King Charles was greeting well-wishers gathered outside Luton Town Hall when an egg flew towards him. Protection officers redirected the royal to another point where he continued shaking hands with the people who came out to see him. Police said that a man in his 20s was detained and taken into custody, the BBC reported. It was also said to be the infamous world's famous egg, sacrificing its life for a PR stunt of a lifetime. Protocol. Royals are generally forbidden from commenting on political issues, but Charles has been a vocal advocate for environmentalists and the fight against climate change. Throughout his royal career, Charles has been a staunch environmentalist and has commented multiple times on how the government must take action on climate change, which directly goes against the ethos that monarchs must be politically neutral. As a father, I'm proud to say my sons have recognized this as a threat. Charles wrote in an essay penned for Newsweek, and my younger son Harry has passionately highlighted the impact of climate change, especially in relation to Africa, and committed his charity to being net zero. Protocol Part 2. The royal family typically isn't allowed to sign autographs because it would increase the risk of having their signature illegally forged. However, when meeting the victims of the Cornwall flash floods in 2010, Charles obliged to one couple's request for an autograph for their son. He reportedly wrote Charles 2010 on a scrap of paper given to him by a surprise bodyguard, and even apologized for his shaky writing because he never writes standing up. Meghan's dad. After Meghan's father was embroiled in a scandal due to staging paparazzi pics and became unavailable to attend her royal wedding, Charles stepped in and walked her down the aisle in a heartwarming moment seen by millions of viewers. Prince Harry recalled the moment he asked his father to walk Meghan down the aisle in a BBC One documentary, Prince, Son and Heir, Charles at 70. I asked him to, and I think he knew it was coming, and immediately said, "Yes, of course, I'll do whatever Meghan needs and I'm here to support you." He said, according to Town and Country. For him, that's a fantastic opportunity to step up and be that support. And you know, he's our father, so of course he's going to be there for us. His father's executor. Different Charles here. In 1649, just months after Charles I's execution, the future Charles II wrote from exile in Holland, swearing retribution on those responsible for his father's passing. "We shall therein, by all ways and means possible," he proclaimed, "endeavor to pursue and bring to their due punishment those bloody traitors who were either actors or contrivers of that unparalleled and inhumane execution." At the time, Charles, impoverished and with few followers, was in no shape to wreak much vengeance on anyone. 11 years later, though, when he returned to England as king, it was a very different matter. Charles II searched for his father's executors, and it unleashed a worldwide manhunt. Paparazzi. If anyone understands what life in the spotlight is, it's King Charles III. We all know that the British royal family has been subjected to press, paparazzi, and international fans for decades, but Charles really hasn't known any other life. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, became the reigning monarch when he was just 3 years old, and as such his life was changed forever. Charles went from a little kid fairly distant from the throne to the heir apparent and now the monarch overnight. With it came the attention, reporters, and judgment. So as you can imagine, his life just hasn't been a bed of roses. Prince Philip. Getting along with your parents can be difficult, but what if your father was the presiding prince of the Commonwealth? Maybe the pressures would be a little more severe. As noted by the New Yorker, King Charles III and Prince Philip had a fairly tense relationship, especially in the early years, as Philip was not at all coy about sharing what he thought of his son. The New Yorkers reported that Philip thought of Charles as weedy, effete, and spoiled, that he was not coordinated enough to ever be an athlete, far too wary of horses, a major area of interest for the royals, and too sensitive. So as you may have guessed, Charles was shipped off to boarding school. Diana. When you think of King Charles III, the first thing you probably think of is his divorce from Diana Spencer. It was a mess. The couple whose union once looked like a fairy tale ended in utter despair. And while the press was certainly on Diana's side, it was painful for both Diana and Charles, as noted by the New Yorker. There was equal misery on both parties. During the couple's divorce, claims were even made that Diana was the biggest bully Charles has ever dealt with since his days in boarding school, as she allegedly taunted him and told him that she never saw him becoming king. Andrew has never really seemed like much of a family man. Pretty much all of the sadness, drama, and tension that surrounded him has had to do with his relatives. Perhaps no other family member has punished Charles to his capacity than his younger brother, Prince Andrew, who has been embroiled in a disturbing scandal for years. Andrew was stripped of his military titles and practically all public royal honors when details about his relationship with a now passed away person came to light. Thanks for watching.